Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video will be about OSB or plywood installation on the floor. So if you have to install any OSB or any plywood or even chipboard on a floor, this is the video that you need to watch. So I'm gonna show you everything you need to do in order to have a nice and solid floor, and more important is that that floor will never squeak. And before I will start, I'm just gonna tell you that if you can buy ton and groove OSB or ton and groove chipboard or plywood, do that, because that will make things a lot more quicker and a lot more simple. But if for some reason you will have to install a normal sheet, so not a ton and groove sheet, then yeah, this is the video that you need to watch. Everything will probably be pretty much the same. There's just few things that you will have to make different from installing a ton and groove floor. So we are installing a 22mm OSB on this job. So as you can see, we already started the installation, and if you are obviously watching the channel, you know why I'm doing this. You know that I have to do this in all the house, so we have to obviously make all the floors to be nice and level, and then we'll have to install this 22mm OSB. Okay, so let me start with the tips for the installation. So as you can see here, our boards are not touching each other. We always use a nail that we put in between the boards, and we butt the boards against the nail. So this way we are 100% sure that we're going to have a 3mm gap in between the boards. You will never want any boards on the floor to be touching, because in the moment that they will start moving, then you will obviously have squeaks on the floor. So the first thing that we obviously have to make sure that the boards are not touching each other and they are not touching the wall. So all the perimeter, as you can see here, you will have 8 or maybe 10mm gap. So that gap can be filled with foam, or it can be filled with expanding foam after. So always make sure you have gap against the walls. As you can see here, everywhere we aim from 8 to 10 mil, but if you're gonna have 15 or 12 or 5, it's still okay. Now I'm going to show you the extra thing that we have to do in order to install these boards properly. As you can see, we have wood on all the sides of the board. So you see the noggings. So our OSB, it needs to be resting on wood on all 4 sizes. So this is the difference between ton and groove and normal sheets. Is if we'll have a ton and groove board here, then there was no need for these noggings. So this will take me back to the moment where I said, if you can use ton and groove boards, please do, because you will make the things a lot more easier and a lot more faster. Wasn't the case here. We do have ton and groove boards, but the problem is that I needed to buy them in pallets. So I needed to buy 2 pallets, and I will have probably 35 boards left. So I decided that I'm gonna do normal boards, and also because I wanted to do noggings anyway. So let me tell you the most important thing when you are installing a sheet on the actually floor, which is this. Yeah, is this expanding glue. This is something that you must use. This is not an option. This is something that you really need to use. So this is a 30 minutes polyurethanic adhesive, wood adhesive. So it will take about 30 minutes to fully cure. As you can see here, it start to expand. It's not dry yet. You can see I will touch it, and it's still soft. By the way, you need to wear gloves, because if this stuff goes on your hands, it will take a week to go away. So bear in mind, this is number 1 thing that you have to do. You have to use expanding glue. And when it comes to obviously measure and cut your board, because if you work with obviously in an old building, obviously your joists might not line up with the edge of the board. So in this case, you might have to cut the board. So always make sure that your board is going in the middle of the joist. So you can't have this board overhanging in the middle in between 2 joists. You can do that obviously with a ton and groove board, but you can't do that with a normal board. So you have to measure and you have to cut and then obviously test it. As you can see here, our boards are 250, and you can see our 250 is about 10 millimeters there. We can move it from the wall and we'll have pretty much 250 in the center of the joist. So we've been lucky with this one. Otherwise, to be fair, most of them needed to be cut. So we lay our board down just to make sure that it fits. As you can see here, we have a bit of a distance because I'm aware of this right hand side wall is not in square, so it's quite a big difference. I don't know what happened, but obviously it doesn't matter now. We're gonna have to work around. So I'll probably have to trim a bit on the left hand side in order to have a smaller gap in the right hand side of the board. Let me show you obviously what we're gonna use. We're gonna use 70 millimeter screws. So once that we're happy with our board, you can see, I'll be honest with you, things are not very square in this house, so we have to do the best we can. So when we are happy with how the boards fit, obviously we're just gonna lift it, put a lot of glue, and then we're just gonna screw it down. So we are going to use 70 millimeter screws. So for this 22 millimeter boards, we're gonna use 5x70s. So this is what we used in all the houses. This we're gonna use here as well. Here you can see me spreading the glue, so you'll see us moving the board back and then you will see me spreading the glue. You have to pay attention when you work, obviously, when you sit on top of the joist. If you don't feel comfortable, obviously use a tower scaffold or something. So you can see me here putting the glue. So I do spread a lot of glue. I think this way. So if I put more than I need, that's not gonna be any problem. It's just gonna drip down and it's just gonna expand. If I use less than I need, maybe I'll have a problem. So I always been generous with the glue, because in the end of the day I need to have a floor that will be very, very strong. And to be fair, I hate squeaky floors, so I'm always generous with expanding glue. Let me take the camera closer and show you what I mean by spreading the glue and be generous. So you can see I did glue on all the joists and on all the noggings. So there's no even 2 millimeters of wood without any glue. So I have continuous glue all around. This is what you want. This is what we need in order to make sure that we have a solid floor. And after that, we're just gonna lay the board down and we're gonna use screws to obviously secure this down. So once that we are happy with all the gaps, we're just gonna start putting the screws in. So we are using normally 5 screws per joist. So on the small length of the board, we're using 5 screws, and we do that for every single joist that we have. You saw my colleague, he was using the level 2 to mark them all, just to make sure that we don't put screws in next to the joist. We want obviously the screws in the joist. And so like I said, we're using 5 screws on every joist, and then we use screws on the noggings as well. So in total, I will say probably the board will have about 30 something screws. So the board, bear in mind, this is a European board, is 2.5 meters by 1.25, so it's slightly bigger than the boards in UK. Okay, so let me take you closer and show you what we did. So we marked all the joists, as you can see, with a pencil, and then we used 5 screws for every single joist, and we did that for all of them. We did that for the edges, as you can see there, and we also did in the noggin. So we also put screws in the noggin. So as you can see, we have screws in between the lines. So there's the noggin, sorry, there's the joist, and then you can see there we have screws in between the actually joist. As you can see there's a noggin, we have 2 screws there. So obviously, depending how much your distance is, you can do 1 or 2 screws. This way we make sure that obviously we're gonna have, like I said before, a very, very solid floor. Now we're going to start with another board, and we're going to start it from that side going to the right, because we want to stagger the boards. We always stagger the boards. We never lay the boards as you will do tiling or something like that. They always go staggered like the bricks. This board will be installed from the left in order to have a staggered pattern, as I said before. We're happy with everything, and then we're just gonna obviously secure it in place with 70mm screws, and then after that all we have to do is to cut the piece on the left and the piece on the right, and spread the glue and install them. So pretty much that's it. If you follow these steps, you should have a very good floor. Let me show you how this floor ended up, and that will be for this video. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you can consider doing. As you can see here, we are all complete. We have our gaps against the walls. There is one place where is tiny smaller, so we're gonna use a multi-tool to cut that after, and after that all we have to do is to put some expanding foam in the gap, just to make sure that there's obviously no draft or anything coming through there. So pretty much that's it. I think if you're gonna follow these steps, you're gonna have a very nice and solid floor without squeaks. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.